Now back in the national capital, the Greater Accra Region Health Directorate has introduced a pregnancy school for all prospective mothers, their husbands and close relatives. The aim of the school is to allow the midwives and health workers monitor and bond with the would-be mothers. The program is currently running at the Osudoku sub-district of the Ghana Health Service. Martha Crensolakwa caught up with some stakeholders at the launch of the pregnancy school in one of the facilities.
Declare the pregnancy school for this particular community duly launched. Thank you very much.
We want every pregnant woman to be in the pregnancy school. So we had Dodowa Hospital having it and all the other facilities. But what we are doing, and the reason why we had this one, is to have the community pregnancy schools, because they can't come to the facility. Yes, exactly. So we have the chiefs and opinion leaders finding us a room, either a classroom, a church. Then we have a day, twice in a month. Okay. Then you can either be pregnant or not. I mean, if you want to be, if you are planning to get pregnant, you can join the school to 28 weeks. Then from 28 weeks you deliver. That's another day where you come with your husband and your relatives. You have videos. We show you how to push, what to eat, while you do the investigations. Then you can ask any question, like director said. And when we did that, we realized that skill delivery has gone up. That is, the women come to the facilities to deliver because now we are friends and they can talk to us. Secondly, stillbirth, where women go to deliver and they lose their babies, has reduced from 2.2 to 1.9%. So for us, it's really working. Even anemia was 22% when we were starting in women at 36 weeks, but now it was 50%, but now it's 22% and it's going down. So we want to let every pregnant woman in the facility have it. And some of the things we are doing, because we live Osudoku district has a rural district and a very large district. It's a huge one. It's the biggest district in Greater Accra, and it has a population of only 60,971. What does it mean? They are sparsely populated, so getting to them is quite difficult. So when you come and deliver, we give you Milo, and then I heard about the Milo. Amazing. We give you Milo. Your pastor can come, your mother can come, and when the traditional birth attendant bring us the women, we give them key soap.
But there are various forms of it. We are trying to make the schools as comfortable and as interesting and as conversational and as relevant as possible. So there are things that we are bringing in. For example, it will not just be that everybody comes and hears the same thing. Pregnancy is divided into 3 sessions. So we have the first 3 months, the second 3 months, and the third 3 months. Our hope is that everybody would visit the school during one of those sessions. So if you are in the first 3 months, visit the school. So the schools will be managed in such a way that when you come and you are pregnant within the first 3 months, you hear about what a pregnant woman has to hear within this time. In the second 3 months, in the third 3 months, and even after delivery, how to take care of the baby.
Because here we do the pregnancy school, there's this kind of trust that we build between them. So you become like a sister and a friend to them. So when they come in labor, they are comfortable, they tell you everything they want. When they are in labor, they want you to hold them. So far as they prefer the squatting position, you squat with them and then they'll hold you and use you as a support to push.
Now, negotiations between government and the Ghana Medical Association over the conditions of service have broken down. Government has pulled out, saying it cannot negotiate with the doctors while they are still on strike. The GMA called the strike, demanding that government puts in place conditions of service for its members. The two parties have failed to reach a common ground after they failed to agree on proposals and counter-proposals between them. Fred Smith is head of our health desk. He's joined me in the studio with more. Fred, how different is this proposal, the one we are seeing now, from what we've seen before?
Well, Kamini, thank you. I've looked at it. I don't see a big difference between that and the previous one that we've talked about, especially the one we talked about last week, the counter proposal that was presented by the government to the doctors. Except that this one has an expanded conditions of service. It talks about how you are engaged as a doctor or a dentist. In fact, I must say that it covers doctors and dentists. Okay. It talks about how you are engaged as a doctor or dentist, what benefits you have during your normal working hours, which is 8 hours, and what you get if you're to work outside those hours, if you have to travel to attend school or to upgrade your knowledge, what government is supposed to give to you to be able to undertake all of these things. It also talks about the fuel allowance, and that's no different from what we saw last week. It's been slashed from what the GMA presented. That's been slashed by about 50%, and for the various levels of staff. So not much of a difference there. And
well, then, if it's not too different from what we already know, why is government pulling out?
Because they've added other conditions that previously was not part of it. For instance, it talks about the fact that if you are out of work for about 5 days, you lose salary. If it continues for a certain period, you lose the employment. You are deemed to have left the job. And if you want to resign, it talks about the procedures for resignation and things like that. So this one is more specific on the little things that you do as a doctor or a dentist within our public hospitals.
I see. And what are the doctors saying about this?
Well, last night the Labour and Employment Ministry said that they're not going to negotiate with the doctors because they are still on strike, even though they've presented this proposal to them. Then the doctors came out strongly to say that, well, they will remain on strike because the strike was declared by the General Assembly, and the General Assembly's reason for going on the strike was that they will remain on that strike until they have conditions of service in place. And so if that's not done, so it's a deadlock situation now. Until somebody softens their position, we will see the doctors out of work for a long time. And remember, we talked about the statement from the Employment Ministry last week that if you are out of work until Friday is just a few days ago, you will lose or forfeit your salary. It looks like the doctors will forfeit their salaries because government says they are, for all the communication that they've issued during the strike period, they're very serious about them and they will implement. The latest we are hearing also is that government is putting in place some emergency plan to deal with the absence of the doctors, and so we should expect that.
Do we know what that plan is?
Not officially, but through other sources, we are hearing that we could get doctors, foreign doctors. Remember, we talked about it here last week. Foreign doctors who will come in, and then we've also heard from the Health Ministry that they are trying to engage the retired doctors. And in fact, that aspect of that engagement is also captured in the conditions of service. So even before you are hired as a doctor, they negotiate with you how they're going to engage you if you reach the retirement age.
It's interesting because if we're bringing in foreign doctors, a number of questions come up. How many of them can we bring in? How many of them? How are we going to pay them? Because I'm not sure it was captured in the budget.
That's not being captured, and so the wisest thing anyone would do is to do away with the people who are supposed to be working and receiving the pay, or take their salary away, use it to pay for these new people.
We've seen foreign doctors come in before. When some doctors were not working. What was it like back then? How many of these doctors could we bring in?
Well, not many, especially those we got from Cuba. Cuba has been very helpful in terms of supplying healthcare staff to Ghana. They've been very helpful, and they came in. They don't mind going to the rural areas. So even though the strike that brought them in ended some time back, they accepted postings to rural areas, and that has been helpful. But you can't bring as many as we have for GMA members today. So it's a gradual process.
I guess.
It will still have some impact on healthcare delivery. And we have seen over the last few weeks people who go to hospitals but cannot get the healthcare they need because the doctors are not there. The nurses are there, they can help, but there's a difference between a doctor and a nurse.
Thank you very much, Fred. We'll leave it here. Fred Smith is head of our health desk. Now, the acting public relations officer of the Ghana Education Service is asking Parents Teachers Association to ensure a strict adherence to rules made by the service to halt the increasing number of child abuse in schools. Reverend Jonathan Bete was reacting to a reported case of child abuse against an 8-year-old pupil of the Mary Mother of Good Counsel school. The boy was tied with his mouth taped by his teacher as punishment for talking too much in class. Though the parent of the child has sued the school, Reverend Bete believes frequent visits to schools by parents will put teachers on their toes and ensure a reduction in such cases. He was speaking on Joy FM's Ghana Connect.
So our parents are also connected. That's why we have PTA, Parent Teacher Association. We are together, we do things in common. So when this type of behavior happen, and what we have heard from other people, listeners, that the teacher should be sanctioned, the school should be, they have to, remove the school from the public school or whatever they belong to. We need to study very carefully. We need to dive into this issue. Now, one of us spoke about individual differences. We have various types of temperament. Teachers also have that temperament, so are the children also. So do we dive into taking care of our children? We expect that teachers will live up to expectation.
President John Mahama has reiterated his commitment to ensure the ongoing power crisis is addressed for good. Speaking at the 20th GJA Awards ceremony, he said various measures are being put in place to ensure that the crisis ends once and for all.
I personally wish to express my sincerest thanks to the people of Ghana for not only bearing with the situation, but even taking the opportunity to have a sense of humor in some of our darkest hours of our power sector today. I can assure you that the power sector is still #1 on my agenda as president, and I still get a daily brief on the developments we are pursuing to resolve this challenge. The power shortage has not been a very comfortable situation for our people. And yet, despite the discomfort, I am touched at the fortitude and love of our people, and love that our people have continued to show during this crisis. I wish to thank the many ordinary Ghanaians who walk up to me and encourage me to do all I can to resolve the crisis. I have burned in my memory images of a photo I saw on WhatsApp of young children doing their homework on the pavement in front of a bank that obviously must have had a generator working. I owe it to those children that we fix this problem as soon as possible. I owe it also to the many Ghanaians who have made suggestions to me and continue to urge me to resolve the power supply deficit.
Well, now, former chief executive of the Volta River Authority is backing calls for the privatization of the electricity company of Ghana. The ongoing energy crisis sparked a debate over the operations of the various players in the power supply chain. Many individuals and organizations kicked against suggestions that the ECG should be privatized. But speaking at the annual JJA Awards program in Accra, the former CEO of the Volta River Authority, Kweku Awoche, said the ECG has become so inefficient there is no need for government to hold on to it.